What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I'm going to be doing part 2 on Aurelion Sol. Now go easy on me guys. I know in the first video I mentioned that I'll be dropping the part 2 quite shortly after the first one had been dropped. And since then we've had Evelyn and we've had Aatrox, and this Thursday I will be dropping Camille as well. So I'm a little bit behind schedule on these part 2s, but hopefully I can try and catch up now. And this is the first, no not the first, I did Pike didn't I before. This is the second part 2. Then again I also did Jin didn't I as well. Anyways, I digress. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go through his login theme, then I'm going to go through his story, and in the original video I mentioned I was going to go through his voice lines, but looking at that video I've gone kind of through his voice lines already via the actual player interactions or the special interactions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the actual spotlight for Aurelion Sol. I think it's more like a comedy version, but you know it's good when the actual comedy version or the Mickey take version is I think it's got more views. I think it's got 5 million views, and the actual spotlight's got a little bit less, so you know it's good. So I'm going to watch that as well at the back end of this video. I'm going to timestamp the whole thing as I always do, and yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Straight away it's popping, straight away, and this is what I heard in the actual spotlight. This is what I clocked in the spotlight that made me think, ooh, this is really good, and if this is his login theme, I need to really listen to it, and it is the same one. Only 16 seconds in and I've paused it. But while I've paused it, one thing I'm going to say is look at the size of him. The guy is huge, and you can see down here, it looks like this is a person here as well, and some kind of like monument or something. But if this is the person, which I think it is, yeah, the knee is huge. Not like he shouldn't be huge. I mean, it's Aurelion Sol, but the scale of him in comparison to maybe a normal person, wow. Nice vocals. Pause it here. How epic does he look as well? This is the first time I've actually properly looked at Aurelion Sol for longer than like 5 seconds. How epic is his design? So obviously I know about his crown, and obviously this is how he was trapped by magic. But just his overall look, it looks so good. You can see all the worlds, the stars, all the galaxies. I believe it looks like this is his tail in his body. His overall design looks so good, and then obviously he's just casually, you know, holding, you know, suns in his hand. Wow. That's nice, and it goes all quiet, then it builds up again. I like it. I love that part. Love it. know what it really reminds me of? It really reminds me of Avengers. Don't know, this would be fitting music for like Infinity War, anything like that. It's almost like galactic level music, and it just really reminds me of Thanos and Infinity War. And also, once again, while I've paused it here, I believe there's a new Tales of Runeterra video out that I've not watched yet. I don't know what it's called, but I know it revolves around Targon, Mount Targon, and presuming people that have been involved with Aurelion Sol. So who knows, maybe this actual Tales of Runeterra series is building up to Aurelion Sol, which would be really good as well. I love how it does that. It builds up, doesn't it? It builds up and builds up and builds up, and then it drops off. Just drops off now, and it builds up again in a minute. Okay, maybe not this time. It did before, but yeah, that is so good. Yeah, that is really good. Wow, these login themes are amazing, and I think I must have mentioned it in previous videos as well. League of Legends are so good at so many things, obviously because of what they do, but for me the standout is music. They know how to make music. Their music is always 10 out of 10, and once again this is a classic example. And while I'm talking about music, I've just remembered now as well, in the comment section I'm going to find out the actual commenter. It probably was in actually the Aurelion Sol video. Someone said that his login theme, it reminds them of Stranger Things, and I completely agree. That opening run really reminds them of Stranger Things. Let me find it right at the beginning. This opening, this spot here. That's Stranger Things, isn't it? That's definitely Stranger Things, or be fitting for Stranger Things. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, that was really good, really good. I did Pike a few weeks back, which was a good one as well. And I definitely think going forward, every single champion I will do, I will definitely be covering their login theme as well, or login screen, should I say, as well. So that's that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to his story. So let's go. Right, let's go. Twin Dawns. Okay. So I'm presuming this is maybe Targon or Mount Targon. Okay. So, this world's familiar sun still hides below the horizon. Crude and unpolished earth unfurls below. Mountains contort into barriers that stretch like fingers across empty scrub lands. Places, or rather, what pass for places, fail to loom over anything but the squattest of hills. The curvature of the planet meets the stars with a serenity and grace few of the dwellers below will ever witness. They are so scattered across the globe and grasp so blindly for any sort of understanding that it's no surprise they've been conquered and don't even comprehend their predicament. So I wonder if this is Aurelion Sol talking. The fiery sheen I've gathered as I streak towards my preordained destination illuminates the world beneath me. Pockets of warring, fearful, rejoicing life tucks itself into any fertile nook it can find below. Oh, how they gaze and point as I streak over their heads. I've heard the names they call me: prophet, comet, monster, god, demon. So many names, all missing the mark. So I wonder what he thinks of himself then, if it's not one of them. Dragon? I don't know. Or maybe just Aurelion Sol. In the vast stretch of desert, I feel the twinge of familiar magic emanating from the seat of the premier civilization among these savages. Lo and behold, a massive sun disk is under construction. The poor enslaved labourers beat their heads and rent their clothes in my wake. rend. Their cruel masters see me, a streaking bolt of fire, as the portent of good omen, no doubt. My passing will be etched in their uncouth pictograms upon common stone, and homage to the great comet, the blessing of the sky god, grace in their holy works, and so forth. This sole purpose is to funnel the sun's majesty into the most renowned of these fleshy humanoids, transforming them into exactly what the planet needs. More insufferable demigods. So is that the darking then, or the aspect, maybe? So I didn't know that then. I'm reaching again here, but what? So the sun discs, basically a massive sun mirror, and it redirects the sun to these humans, and then they get power. Oh, okay, I don't know. Anyway, let's carry on reading, Simeon. Let's carry on reading. The effort will undoubtedly backfire, but I suppose they might last a brief while. Perhaps 1,000 years or so before they fall and are supplanted by others. I love how he views 1,000 years as a brief moment in time. The desert below fades into the night, trailing behind me as I streaked onwards across lonely steps. Steps. Then over rolling brown hills, gently feckled with greenery. The pastoral scenery belies the fields splattered with blood and littered with the dead and dying. Survivors hack away at each other with rough-hewn axes and scream battle cries. One side is losing quite badly. Stag skulls rest atop pikes stuck into the soil, next to withering warriors. The few still on their feet are encircled by soldiers riding great shaggy beasts. Those defeated, surrounded, few see me, and violence seems to surge through their veins. The wounded rise up and grasp their axe and bows in a final stand that throws their foes off guard. I don't linger to see the rest of the little clash play out because I've seen this scenario unfold 1,000 times. The survivors will scratch my comet likeness onto their cave walls. In 1,000 years, their descendants will fly my image on banners and undoubtedly ride into a tediously similar battle. For all their efforts to capture and record history, one ponders why they do not learn from their mistakes. That is a lesson even I had to suffer. I leave them to perpetuate their bleak cycle. My trajectory reveals more inhabitants. Their collective repertoire of reactions span the typical gamut, pointing, kneeling, sacrificing virgins upon stony altars. They look up and see a comet and never ask what lies beneath the blazing facade. Instead, they stamp it into their own self-centered worldviews. So true, mudging the splendour of my visage. The few more advanced life forms, and I use that description loosely. I love how he's talking in this kind of like third person. Gaze upon and jot down my coordinates in scientific almanacs instead of using me as prophecy fodder. It's mildly refreshing, but even their developing notions of intellect seem to indicate I am a regularly appearing phenomena with a predictable orbit. Oh, the feats they could accomplish if only. Well, no use on the wasted potential of the simple-minded terrestrial born. It's not entirely their fault. Evolution does seem to have a difficult time gaining traction on this world. But alas, the novelty of such infantile antics has worn thin. The grasping synergies of my magical bondage has dragged me from one paltry world to another for centuries. Now it has led me back to this familiar and unpleasant rock. The star that floods its surface with light was one of my earliest creations. A confluence raw of love and radiance. I love that. I love how this is how OP he is. He creates stars. Okay? The guy creates stars. Yeah. That cherished moment when she flared to life with colours only her creator could see. Ultraviolet, X-ray, all the rest of that good stuff. How I can miss the stars crackling new energy warming my face and tickling through my fingers. Each star gives off a unique energy, precious and reflecting its creator's soul. There are cosmic snowflakes burning in defiance of the infinite dark. Unfortunately, the memories I long to dwell upon are tainted by betrayal. Here we go. Yes, this was the place where Targon lured me into servitude, but now is not the time to linger on past mistakes. Those musky aspects want me to seal yet another breach, in their name of course. Then I see her. This world's imbued warrior is alone at the peak of one of the smaller summits, brandishing a starstone spear. She watches me through a veil of annexed flesh, a mere spark masquerading as lightning, which obviously was one of his lines in his special interactions. A thick braid of auburn hair is draped over her shoulder, falling over a golden breastplate that covers pale, freckled skin. Her eyes, the only bit of her face not shielded by a battle-worn helmet, flash a jarring shade of red. I wonder what this could be then. She calls herself Pantheon, the warring fury of Targon's incarnate. She is not the first of this world to wear the Pantheon mantle, nor will she be the last. Because obviously we know what happened with Pantheon. Her glittering cape flaps out behind her as she raises her muscled arm and makes a motion like she's putting on a great chain. The tug on my crudely enhanced tether wrenches me, of course, towards the mountain upon where she stands, and she's yelling at me. She cries out with a voice that booms inside my head, transmitted through this insufferable star-gem conner. All sounds fade as she invades my mind. Right, so obviously this thing that this crown they've got on Aurelion Sol, somehow she's obviously able to control it, and by that control Aurelion Sol as well. Dragon, she says, as if I'm a weak winged beast of base orange flame. Lucky if it can ignite a tree. Seal their gate, she commands, gesturing to the bottom of a rocky crevasse with her pointy little spear. I don't need to see the violet erosion of reality swirling below. I could smell the festering mazia that poisons this world before I even arrived. I fix my eyes on Pantheon instead. She expects me to fall in line like a dog on its leash. Today will be different, for I've learned from my mistakes. Dragon, I purr. Are you sure commanding me with such a low name is wise? Pantheon's grip on her spear loosens, just enough for her to fumble the weapon for a fraction of a second. She takes a step back, away from me, as if a single stride's distance could protect her from my ire. Seal their gate, she says again, barking louder as if perhaps the previous command went unheard. Her volume does little to mask the quiver in her voice. She thrusts her spear towards me as if such a tiny weapon could pierce me. This is the first time I've ever seen an aspect of Targon shaken. She's not used to having to tell me twice. I will deal with those chittering horrors in due time, dear Pantheon. Do as you are commanded, Dragon, this Pantheon shouts, or this world is lost. This world was lost the moment Targon surrendered itself to arrogance. I feel Pantheon's seething mingle with confusion as she struggles to grab hold of my immaterial reins. She is only just now sensing what I've come to learn. Targon is distracted and does not sense its magic faintly ebbing from my bonds. Told you, he's come back for some sweet revenge. Now I hope as well, because I've not watched the actual the latest Tales of Runeterra video, which kind of ties around Mount Targon. I hope it kind of ties in with this. I'd love it if it actually showed this in the next few actual ones they do, because this story seems so interesting. Anyways, so Pantheon bellows once more, and this time I cannot resist. Crude enchantment reigns sovereignty over my will. I turn my attention towards the source of the breach, nestled in the basin of the once verdant valley. I sense the void-born perversions of life tunneling through reality's ferment, sending tides of unseen energy coursing through the ether. They shred the veil that separates nothingness and form with their unwelcome passage. They are drawn to me, those multi-eyed, carapaced abominations. They seek to devour me, the greatest of their threats. From the reaches of my mind, I conjure an image of the solar furnaces I kindled before my fretting, which once ignited the hearts of stars. I lanced out beams of pure starfire and incinerate wave after wave of those gnashing horrors, driving them backward into the oblique infinity. Smouldering hoofs rain from the sky. I am a little surprised that they aren't wholly disintegrated, but then again, the Voidborn don't know how things work in this universe. A pulsing sickness lingers in the air. From the epicenter of the corruption, I feel a will, hungry and indomitable, and far from the typical mindless I'm accustomed to from these Voidborn abominations. The pulsating wound of reality yawns and buckets, distorting and wrapping all it touches. Whatever exists on the other side is laughing. Pantheon shouts another command at me, but I ignore her words. This anomalous fissure in the universe entrances me. This is not the first of its kind I've had to deal with, but this one feels different. Ooh, and I can't help but admire the marvellously terrifying manipulation of the barriers between realms. Few beings could fathom its complexities, let alone possess the sheer magnitude of power needed to rend the fabric of existence. In my heart, I know a wound so exquisite could never be orchestrated by scuttling creatures. No, there must be more behind this intrusion. I shudder at the thought of what kind of entity is capable of inducing such a volatile rift. It's impressive that even Aurelion Sol is kind of intimidated. I don't need Pantheon's bat orders to tell me what to do next. Her array of requests has always been of a rather limited imagination anyway. She wants me to hurl a star at the rift, as if one can simply cauterize such mouldering interdimensional abrasions and be done with it. These obtuse demigods are my captors? Fine. At least they're not too far off in their logic by thinking a few searing cosmic wonders will remedy this problem. I will play the role of the obedient servant just a little while longer. I enjoy what I do next, partly because they'll remember it, partly because it feels good to let a little of the old power loose, but mostly because I wish to remind whatever intelligence that controls this void incursion that nobody laughs at me in my plane of existence. The base elements in the atmosphere rally to my cause, occurring into a plasmic anomaly. The swelling stardust detonates at my unspoken command. The result is a dwarf replica of one of my majestic glories burning in the depths of space. It basically creates a star. Okay. After all, I can fling a fully fledged star at this fragile world. The young star's shimmering brilliance flies from my hands. It's jolted by two sisters, away by my side. They careen around me in a radiant ballad, their white-hot cores devouring the gathering clouds of dust and matter I draw towards us. We will become a storm of stars. The nighttime sky incarnate, a maddening Gaia of starfire. I conjure eddies of searing stardust, exhaling a heat so pure and dense it collapses the aura of this world just the tiniest bit, forever marring the planet's curvature. I mean, it's just OP. It's so OP. It's just crazy. Coruscating strands of stellar flame pirouette from the centre of the rift. Gravity melts in undulating waves of colour most eyes will never be able to witness. My stars wrap matter as more fuel coalesces into their cores, causing them to shine brighter, burn hotter. The whole spectacle is breathtaking, a cascading dance of blinding light and searing heat so hot that for a fleeting moment, new spectra are birthed into existence. My spine tingles just a little bit at how good it feels. Trees splinter, rivers evaporate, the mountain walls of the valley crumble in smoky avalanches. The tireless labourers erecting the sun disk, the soldiers taking the hill, the stargazers, the worshippers, the terrified, the doomsday prophets, the hopeless, the rising kings, all those who beheld the streaking comet with selfish eyes witnessed the ensuing, suing supernova as an early dawn. Across this pitiful globe, my radiance turns darkest night into blinding day. What factions will they conjure to explain this phenomena? Even my Tigurian masters have rarely witnessed such a display of my power. Certainly, no terrestrial world has ever borne scars as severe as what is left of that one variant day. When I am finished, nothing remains. Not even this incarnation of Pantheon. I can't say I'll miss her or her mindless barking. In the glowing aftermath of my carnage, the smouldering once mountains collapse into the molten rubble streams now flowing through the valley. This is the scar I have left upon this world. A surge of damning pains shoot through my body, radiating from that infernal crown. I am about to pay. My head snaps up and my eyes drink the bitter sight of a dying star. My heart clasps shut, my mind reels. An overwhelming sense of despair ricochets through my very soul, emanating from a deep and intimate sorrow, like the pulsing realization you've lost something precious and know it's all your fault. So curious life forms I met long ago once asked how it was possible for me to remember every star I've created. If only they could feel what it was like to create a single star, they would understand the sheer irrelevance of that question. That's how I know when every one of my darlings winks out from existence, ejects jets of energy, and with it the very substance of my own spirit. I see her death kneel in the heavens above. She shines brightly one last time in a pyroclasm that momentarily drowns her brothers and sisters. My heart shatters as the heavens are diminished in brutal retribution for turning my power on one of Targon's own. A son is the price of a single pantheon. This is the cost of my unfettered wrath. This is the kind of brutish sorcerer I must deal with. Within seconds they have regained control of my reins and call me to a new task. Oh no, another world I have exhibited such a display of freedom, no matter how fleeting it was. What's more is that I have learned from their mistakes. A bit of me is free now, and in time I will return to this world, tap into the mysterious well of energy and cast off the rest of my tether. Right, okay. I tune into the essence of war, twisted and contorted with fleshy vessels scattered across the cosmos. It wasn't happy about losing its mortal avatar on this world. Already a new doomed host has been chosen to transform into the next iteration of Pantheon. A soldier from Rancor, a tribe who cling to the base of Targon's mountain, siphoning off its power like barnacles. One day I shall meet this new incarnation of Pantheon. Perhaps he will learn to find a new weapon and abandon this ludicrous spear. I sense Pantheon's celestial kin, scattered across the cosmos. In a single instance, all of their attention is focused on this world, where one of their early aspects was vaporized by their own weapon. Their confusion is mingled with growing desperation as they contend with each other to regain their control over me. How I wish I could see their faces. As I launch myself from the gravity of this world, this room terror, I sense an emotion I have never felt from Targon before. Fear. So you see, this is almost like the blueprint. For me, this has got to be the blueprint of what's going to happen in the Tales of Runeterra series. They've already done one I'm going to be watching soon, which revolves around Mount Targon, and I really, really, really hope that it continues on and ties in nicely with this story, because this will be epic. This will be epic to actually watch this, that I've read, this short story, which technically wasn't that short, it's quite long, play out in actual animation in a video as well. It was so good. But yeah, I like how it shows it. I like how it shows obviously how he views humans, or anything, not humans, anything that is not on his level he views as just pitiful and not even worth his attention. I like also how it shows obviously that he's vengeful and annoyed that he was tricked. He's learnt his lesson and he's just biding his time now. Clearly, right, you can see at the end how he's obviously biding his time, and over time the actual spell on him is weakening as well. So yeah, so that was really good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the actual spotlight for Aurelion Sol. So I've got no idea what to expect, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into that.
Aurelion Sol, more like, it's so fucking hard to last hit. Welcome to League of Legends Actual Champion Spotlight, featuring Aurelion Sol. Seriously,
whoa,
what the fuck? From Rayquaza to Ao Shin to Aurelion Sol, this guy's been in the making for a while now, and the least they could do is, you know, make it so that in the fog of war people can't see your goddamn passive. I know it's intense.
Exactly. I'm glad actually it touched on that straight away. That was one of the when I was watching the spotlight, I was thinking that's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. His passive, he can't even hide. That's a classic example. What?
But come on.
Come on.
Push strats, man. You know, Aurelion Sol is the Shenron of League of Legends, the American Dragon of League of Legends, the Dragoon of League of Legends, the Shendu of League of Legends. Fucking Jackie Chan Adventures. What the fuck did I watch when I was a kid? Riot hates this guy. I mean, he was out for like less than 2 weeks before they decided to fucking nerf his ass. That's fucked up, guys. It's like a bunch of champions got together and had an orgy with Anivia, and this is the spawn that was born. There's like 30 fucking minutes of dialogue on this guy. Jesus fuck, he talks a lot, and every single one is just a diss towards the other champions. It's fucking awesome. But there's only 3 recordings that actually matter, and that's where he says boop, which I wish popped up more because it's the funniest shit in the world, hearing this big ass blue dragon come by and saying
boop. That is good.
It's like you play this guy and you feel like that you're not doing anything, but then you see the damage that you do and you're like, wow, I still feel like I'm not doing anything. If you hate going against Yasuo, LeBlanc, or Zed, then you don't want to play Aurelion Sol because you're going to hate them even more when you're playing this guy. In fact, you're probably going to hate anyone that's a melee champion when you're playing this guy because unless you have your ult, you're going to have a bad time. You just stand there letting them wail on you inside of your clusterfuck star circle like, this is fine. Now, I know there's a penis joke in here. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't do any damage because he does a fuck ton of it when playing him right, but it's just weird and awkward trying to deal DPS with him. It's as weird as the Russian military buying bottlenose dolphins and not telling anyone why. I don't know, man. The fucking Russian military is weird, dude. So you've got your passive center of the universe, where he constantly has 3 stars rotating around him that constantly deal damage whenever the balls hit something. I swear I'm missing some kind of penis joke here again. Every time the ball hits something, you deal, a lot of damage, and you also execute minions that are below 25 health, which is actually a really awkward number. Sometimes you'll feel like a minion's health is low enough to die to it, but nope, not gonna happen. Sometimes you'll feel like your orbs are going to hit the minion, but nope, not gonna happen. Sometimes you'll be farming under your turret and you'll be like, I fucking hate my life. And the effect gets disabled whenever you become CC'd by anything that stops you from using any of your abilities. Sucks your balls right back inside of you. Why can't I think of any penis jokes? You know, it's the balls, you know, they're your fucking, they're your boppin' boopers. Your fucking boppa bopper. Your fucking sock'em boppers. Boopa boopers. Fucking Aurelion Sol. I just want to say that I just noticed this in the Soccer Boppers commercial. This kid punched the other kid in the fucking arm. Bare-fisted. This kid is a fucking asshole. So sometimes the passive sucks, but you know what? It's not too bad. You just got to make it so that people don't see that you're upset. And that's why you put the happy face up in all chat. You see that? That's the face that you put to show that you're not upset, but secretly you just want to kill yourself. But you have to put the space in between the nose and the eyes. That's the most important step. Not this shit, not this shit, this shit. You gotta put the space in there. And the farther the nose is from the eyes, the more you fucking hate your life. Missing farm, kill myself face. Enemy team camping you, kill myself face. Zed constantly killing you in lane, kill myself face. Your parents are cutting you off, kill myself face. See a shitty video on YouTube, kill myself face. Girlfriend cheating on you with your best friend, kill myself face. Someone calling you a faggot, you call them a faggot. Kill myself face. But when activating your W Celestial Expansion, your passive range is increased when activated and moves slightly faster. Even though it doesn't say so in the abilities, it does move just a little bit faster while also dealing 50% more damage. So it's kind of like a Karthus E, but worse. Or it's kind of like an Anivia ult, but worse. And it stays active for as long as you have the ability turned on and turns off when you deactivate the ability. Now, your W is probably one of the funniest abilities in the game. Just seeing people die to your orbs is just fucking hilarious because nobody expects your W dealing that much fucking damage to them. And then when you have Thunderlords, it's whew, look at that, all kinds of damages. And then once you've built a Rylai's, the enemy team has to make a choice of either getting booped to death or turning around to fight you. And there are some times when this ability makes you feel sad, when you've used all of your other abilities and just have to wait for your W to try and finish the job for you, or when you just get a kill for literally doing nothing but standing there, which is the best definition of this character. The dragon champion that does nothing but still kills things. So you just got to put that in the definition there.
That could use some real help. Oh god damn it.
That's good.
Too late. I hate myself.
I didn't move at all.
That's good.
Time to rearrange my world.
Early game disability sucks up a lot of mana when you keep it on, and I like how in Riot's champion spotlight for this champion, they showed examples of Aurelion using his W, but you know, okay, first of all, one, no one's going to stand there when they're a fucking melee champion, and two, when he's fighting Anivia level 1, he lost half of his mana. The fuck is this shit? Your Q is Star Surge. It's an AoE burst scaling with 60% of your AP that explodes when reaching the outer limit of your passive, stunning all targets hit. You can reactivate your Q before it hits your outer limit to have the stun activate sooner, but what's bullshit is that you can't fucking double tap the ability like Anivia's stun, which makes melee champions that can hop on top of you so cancerous. Whenever someone comes into your no-no zone, you literally have nothing you can do at early levels, so you have to just accept the harassment that they land on you. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. The only saving grace about this ability is how big you can make the circle. When you activate your Q and shoot it into a certain direction, you can keep Star Surge constantly moving as long as the center of the spell doesn't cross your outer limit. And while this is happening, you also gain 10% bonus movement speed so you can keep up with it easier. So grabbing Swifty Boots, you can make the circle pretty huge to make it more complicated for your opponent to dodge the ability, but when you're going against someone that has, you know, a dash or a blink, it can be pretty easy for them to dodge it when they see this massive circle coming straight towards them. You feel like Goku powering up throughout the entire season.
Which he did do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. But OP though. Not OP. Amazing though. Dragon Ball Z was one of my childhood favourite animes.
About this ability is how big you can make the circle. When you activate your Q and shoot it into a certain direction, you can keep Star Surge constantly moving as long as the center of the spell doesn't cross your outer limit. And while this is happening, you also gain 10% bonus movement speed so you can keep up with it easier. So grabbing Swifty Boots, you can make the circle pretty huge to make it more complicated for your opponent to dodge the ability, but when you're going against someone that has, you know, a dash or a blink, it can be pretty easy for them to dodge it when they see this massive circle coming straight towards them. You feel like Goku powering up throughout the entire season.
Only to miss.
If you do happen to land the Q, you can then dish out a couple more damage by hitting them with your W and trying your best to stick onto them with the ability toggled and just follow them as they try to run away. Your Q is a great way to start up team fights and flank people whenever you gank them, which is where your E Comet of Legend comes handy because you become
like a shooting star across the midnight sky. Wherever you are, you're gonna see me fly like a shooting star across the midnight sky.
God damn it. Passively, you gain stacks while you're moving in a straight line and gain bonus movement speed, but when you take a slight turn, your movement speed goes down, and when you're damaged by a turret or champion, you lose your stacks and your movement speed. I swear to God, there's a dick joke in here. I know there's a dick joke in here. And then once you reach 100 stacks, you're able to fly over all terrain.
Yeah,
it's like
crazy.
A bard tunnel, except that you can literally move across the entire fucking map.
Yeah,
the only
it's nice.
drawback is just that the enemy team can see you whenever you E. And also whenever you cast an ability besides your Q, or whenever a turret or champion hits you, you come out of your God mode and move like you normally would. You can also use the ability as a way to escape a gank or when you're in a bad position. Yeah, get fucked, bitch! When you use your E along with your Q, you gain enough movement speed to grow your Star Surge as you move with your E in order to gain a huge stun radius that you can hit the enemy team with. Even though this looks cool and you'll probably see some fucking massive Qs that can take up an entire lane, the spell is pretty easy to dodge since you can only fly in one single direction. So if you see someone get hit by a massive fucking dragon that has a goddamn star the size of your mother's areola, then they pretty much deserve to get hit. But you don't always have to use your E and Q together. Your E can just be used as a way to help gank a lane since you gain so much movement speed off its passive, and then activate it in order to get off some really good flanks, and then use your Q in order to lock your enemies down. There are some times when you'll get off a good EQ combo, but most of the time you'll just be using your E to get to lane faster, to go gank, and then use your Q, and that's pretty much it. The EQ combo is pretty much a gimmick, to be honest, but it's still it looks pretty fucking cool, you gotta admit. And finally, we've got your ult, Voice of Light. This ability is like a Lee-Sin kick, a Corki special delivery, and a Braum ult put together. So let's just recap real quick. So far we've got an orgy with Anivia, Lee-Sin, a mentally handicapped Karthus, Corki, Bard, and Braum. Oh, and Shyvana. That's one fucked up baby. You shoot a line in front of you that scales with 70% of your AP, slowing everyone hit by 40 to 60%, and also knocking back champions close to you to your outer limit. This ability is your only saving grace against melee champions, since whenever you use it, the champions that are hit close to you are pushed into your outer limit, where you can then use your Q in order to stun them like the pieces of shit they are. Woo! Yeah, you like that shit? Dash away from that, you fuck ass. It's a great way to snipe champions that are getting away, break up a team fight, help kite, and just deal a massive amount of damage. Or you can be like me and just miss it entirely, and then it's like, yeah, I'm bad. It takes a while for Aurelion Sol to scale up, so you just want to play it safe early game, and once you get Aurelion, you can start just being a massive dickhead towards your enemy team, since you can kite for all eternity and then just stick on them until they decide they no longer want to live anymore. Now, there are just a few things that I would wish would happen to make him just like feel better, like letting him double press his Q so he doesn't have to get dicked on by like melee champions out the ass, or making it so then his W moves faster as you level it up. But still, he feels awkward. But with enough practice, he can be pretty good. In my opinion, Aurelion is a strong champion. It should be played as someone who zones out the other champions in team fights and generally just plays the roles of a supportive mage that also deals a lot of damage. But the only problem with him is just that his abilities are just so boring. It just doesn't feel satisfying at all whenever you get a kill, whereas you play almost like any other champion and you feel like you're fucking making the world rotate the way you want it to. You look at Yorick and it's like, hey, check this out. I killed him by being an asshole. You play Teemo, it's like, hey, fucking check this out. I killed him by being an asshole. You play Zed and you're just like, hey, fucking check this out. I killed him by being an asshole. But with Aurelion Sol, it's like, hey, I got a kill. Woo! Squeeze. Woo!
Okay, so that was good. Like I said before, I was going into this, I had no expectations. I've not watched any of these before. I didn't know what to expect, and I was surprised. But that for me actually is an actual spotlight. Seems to be a very honest opinion of the obviously of the character after playing him as well, and really funny as well. That was really funny. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this going forward though on every single champion that has them. I know I've checked out his actual page, and it looks like he's got quite a few champions that he's got actual spotlights on, so I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do it on all the ones that have it. We'll just see. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think about that. But yeah, but anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the actual video. Hopefully you enjoyed the story, the actual login theme, the login screen, which I thought was absolutely amazing. To be fair, for me now, that's probably my favourite one I've heard so far. And also this actual spotlight as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these parts of the video. And if you did, feel free to let me know. Feel free to like, comment, and maybe also subscribe for more content like this. I will be doing a part 2 on Aatrox and Evelyn soon. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.